Welcome back to The Agent Within, the show where AI meets operational excellence. I'm Mark.
And I'm Jeff. Today, we're going to tackle something that's on every HR and ops leader's radar, and that's getting the most out of your Workday investment.
That's right, Workday. It's a phenomenal platform from HR to finance to talent management. But I mean, come on, let's be honest. Rolling it out successfully and ensuring adoption across the workforce, that is an entirely different challenge.
Yeah, Mark, and that's where most implementations really struggle. That's why today we're going to talk about how Ollie, the AI-powered human analytics platform, can dramatically improve both the deployment, but you got to be thinking about the ongoing enhancement of Workday as well.
Everything that I hear is that companies are turning to Workday, and they expect, structure and efficiency, and maybe they get some insights. But a lot of the times, companies don't really think about the ideal implementation of Workday and really understanding how people are performing their jobs, and that makes the implementation of Workday a lot more challenging.
Yeah, and that's where Ollie comes in. And people need to think of Ollie, it acts like a behavioral x-ray, right? It's passively monitoring how employees are interacting with their digital tools, including Workday, and it's constantly looking at those activities and identifying patterns and inefficiencies or even underutilized modules that you've rolled out.
And I think that's why we continue to help folks by saying leverage Ollie before you start. Let Ollie show you how work is actually being performed. And in particular, think about the legacy systems that you're going to replace and how humans are interacting with those applications, and then what applications they interact with in conjunction with those applications, right? So you can learn where bottlenecks happen, which HR tasks are taking too long, where employees are getting stuck, or maybe get insights into where employees become frustrated and become disengaged.
A big mistake companies make is they're building Workday and the flows around Workday around their org chart instead of around how data flows through the business. And that's where Ollie can really help you flip that script.
And let's say you're launching a performance review, right? Or maybe you're doing time tracking in Workday. Ollie
Love
can,
those.
yeah. Ollie can help you start to reveal how managers currently approach those tasks. Again, where they're delayed, when employees are struggling to find the right tools that they need.
You shouldn't have any more guesswork. You're really aligning Workday modules with actual user behavior and pain points.
That's
And
that's that's
yeah,
exactly right, Jeff. Sorry to interrupt you, but Ollie doesn't really stop there. It can guide you on which processes you should automate. Where folks need coaching, where to phase in improvements to drive a smoother adoption. There's a lot of concepts here for folks.
Ollie's not going to automate these tasks inside of Workday. But what we are doing is we're analyzing how people interact with Workday or other systems in the business to surface those inefficiencies and to drive adoption through coaching behavior changes in the workforce.
30 years in operations, and I will tell you the change management was was always almost an afterthought, and I'm embarrassed to say that, but my we could coach it from a leadership perspective and tell teams you have to be thinking about how you're going to drive that human behavior and get folks to adopt something new, and people just hate change.
Yeah.
um, but for a big project like Workday, and there's other huge, platform initiatives, you just have to start by thinking about change management and making sure that you're understanding the expected outcomes And you just can't underestimate the importance of thinking about how you're going to drive that change management at the very beginning. You can have an AI platform and leveraging multiple AI bot capabilities like what Dataken or Ollie provide. It really is going to maximize that opportunity to drive the change management in a lot of different ways, and you can do it different and unique to the different teams.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's so key here. It's everyone's different, right? We already know people learn best by being trained in context of the work that they're performing, and folks are doing different pieces of work in the business. So if we know people learn best by being trained kind of in context versus taking those hour-long training courses, or the once a year, twice a year type of corporate training. That's why one of the most popular use cases we have is driving adoption of any Workday module.
If you're implementing Workday as a core HR system, right, it's going to be really important, again, to drive adoption. We call that human change management. And Ollie is our service, and it will provide reminder nudges to anyone who is doing the wrong thing. So let's say they log into the legacy HR system or systems, and right as they do that, within seconds, Ollie, your virtual AI bot, recognizes that's not the behavior, right? We've trained Ollie to understand that's the wrong application. We want you now to be logging into Workday. And humans learn in context of the work that they're performing. So I might have been in training a month ago or even a week ago, but that training's already gone into cold storage, right? But when I'm in the moment and I'm hitting the wrong system and something pops up on my screen, right, and it says, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here. Remember, you're supposed to be in Workday," right? That's when humans actually start to learn. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not so much that classroom environment from 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever the system was going to roll out. It's going to be live on Monday, and then Monday comes along, and there was a very good reason why it got delayed a week. And so calendar days can happen between that corporate training and actual use. But one of the things that we feel adds to our engagement is we can do things like gamification to those messages, and it'll really incentivize that change that we're seeking in the employee behavior. We've seen transformation happen so much faster with in-context reminders and gamification incentives. And the company not only gains the benefit of faster adoption, but they can also sunset the legacy apps so much faster.
One of the things that my operational teams used to struggle with was so many different modules that needed to be implemented and therefore integrated, right? And it's really easy for large teams to lose sight of the details of just things as simple as data fields that need to be shared between different modules. Jeff, why don't you talk a little bit about the tech that Ollie uses in order to kind of surface those biggest opportunities?
Yeah, love to talk about this stuff. So Ollie's machine learning algorithms, they're tuned to be looking for operational inefficiencies in deployments of large systems like this. Ollie takes a data-driven approach to identify these biggest opportunities for tuning, which translates into removing operational friction points much faster. If we know how the humans are working and behaving throughout the day, and we know a few extra tidbits about each person in your organization, like their job title, what part of the org do they work in, what does the org chart look like in that part of the organization, then the machine learning algorithms can really dial in what's happening at each step of the leg inside your business. Pretty excited about that being such a big piece of the true IP behind Dataken's Ollie platform.
That was a
But
good explanation for lay people like me, right? Who don't really understand how it all works. Um,
yeah,
that it's really important to let data drive those decisions rather than, the traditional approach of querying the team. What are your biggest pain points? Or, trying to do a time and motion study over somebody's shoulder, and you don't really get the aggregate of the whole team. So pretty cool that you can deploy software across the entire team and let millions and millions of rows of data be learned by the AI machine, and let it actually drive your decision making, right, with data rather
yeah,
than
yeah.
humans.
So why don't we do it just a quick pivot? We won't take long on this one, Mark, but everything we've been talking about up to this point has been leading up to your full kind of go live, and making sure you've got it planned correctly. But what about how can Ollie help you augment, your Workday capabilities? So we'll pivot to that. And again, because Ollie has the context of how the employees are performing their jobs, that means Ollie understands the right time to trigger these Workday capabilities.
It's really important because there are multiple capabilities, right? And different individuals within a team, as well as different teams in aggregate, need different types of coaching, right? And so Ollie allows you to deliver personalized coaching, personalized micro learning, right? And even, motivation, and with an overlay of gamification across all of it. And that's in aggregate what allows you a toolbox, right? A lot of different capabilities to drive that adoption towards better Workday usage.
Yeah, exactly. So specifically, let's just do one quick use case. Say a manager, they haven't completed their talent reviews in Workday yet. So Ollie would see that. It could send a friendly, personalized reminder only to that manager, right? It's a pop up on the desktop. It's not coming through email. It can come through Teams. It can come through your Slack channel, but the manager gets the gentle nudge and reminder. And it even offers, micro learning support right inside of that workflow if they need it.
It's a digital coach. One of the biggest, most important links that get the masses of the working level employees and workers engaged to a company is the supervisor, right? And we've overloaded supervisors with, one job, two job, three jobs, and they've lost the ability to really understand each individual and the uniqueness of the individuals, what their likes and dislikes aren't, what's going to motivate them or demotivate them. Allowing Ollie to supplement the supervisor and take some of that really easy black and white, you need to go do this, you should be doing that, right? To help guide behaviors. It's really about enabling your teams, right? To actually use Workday the way it was intended to be used. Fewer delays, less resistance, more impact, faster results.
Yeah. So if you're planning a Workday rollout or you want to breathe life into one that's already out there live and running, Ollie gives you the clarity to do it right and the coaching tools to make it stick.
If you're interested in this, visit us at www.dataken.ai to see how Ollie's human analytics can take your Workday implementation from a rollout to big impact results.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining us on the Agent Within. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you've got a colleague working on a Workday project, forward them this episode.
That's right. That's right. Thanks, gang.
See you next time.